Welcome back, humans! You know what day it is. My name is Jaime, giving you exclusive headlines on events that you didn't even know you needed. And with that said, humans, let's get this on the road, shall we? So you hear there's a lot of talk when there was the, riots going on and there was all this protesting going on, or, peaceful gatherings. When that was happening, those things were happening a lot. It was getting pretty interesting out there, wasn't it, humans? I mean, to say the least, it was getting, like I said, the media doesn't give us enough to look at, right? So, with that said, you hear a lot of talk and you see all these crazy, new initials of groups and support groups coming out. One of them's under investigation as we speak. It's coming out to be like fraudulent of some sort. Some mystery money and some, different, funds going around in different places and whatnot. But that's not what we're here to talk about right now, humans. What I'm here to talk about right now is something that's very important that nobody really wants to talk about or address. Or if you do, you come under some big, you come under, what's the word? I don't know what the word is. Scrutiny? No, I don't know what that even is a word. I just wanted to say that word. But you come under like some heat. You get some heat around you or whatever. You want to talk about it. But I want to talk about this like police brutality a little bit. It involves police brutality. It involves a little bit about law enforcement. This involves about everything and the way they, the violence that are happening to citizens on a daily basis. So what I want to talk about here is that people are what I like to bring up is people are talking about defunding police. Now let's just think about that for a minute, humans. Like, you want to defund the police. I mean, people have their reasons for whatever it is you believe in, right? There's some crazy things going on there. Some people, like I said, I don't even want to say the wrong thing and offend anybody. What some things they believe in, right? But defunding the police, I don't think that is the way. And I think there's a lot of things wrong in on both sides, on the police force side and on our side. I don't even know what it is on our side or their side, but all we have is like where we can just brainstorm ideas. Do they have a lack of training in the police force today? That's what people believe, and that's what people are saying a lot, and that's what you hear or read about, that maybe they're not getting trained properly. Or maybe the background screenings aren't done properly. Or maybe there's some kind of things happening that we're not aware of. And maybe they're not being addressed like they should be. Because you see a lot of these things way too much, and it's getting like, it's coming up to like a fucking TV series, man. It's just fucking police brutality after video of police beating the shit out of somebody, an innocent person, or whatever the fuck they're doing. Even if the person is getting arrested for a crime, I don't think you have to fucking beat the shit or mop the floor up with somebody or damn near kill them. And sometimes they do fucking kill them while they're supposedly being detained. I don't believe that that's part of their training. I think the process of detaining an individual or a human being is probably not like that. And I'm sure it's probably not exactly like we see in our little cop movies and like the police academy movies, like how to properly do these things. Who knows if that's proper or not? It could be all for entertainment. But we don't really know because we're not into the system. There's police officers out there. If there's anybody watching out there, feel free to go into the comments and, explain some things because we don't always know. And so when we don't know, we usually assume or we'll look out research and, find out things ourselves. But I think there might be a lack of training on the law enforcement side because I don't think that's part of the training. Let's just put let's just put your knee on somebody's neck, for a long time. And he's telling you can't breathe. Just ignore it. This is our, I don't think that's in the handbook. So I think maybe some things need to be reevaluated on that side of things. But I also don't think that, because like when it comes to things like that, when you're, lack of training and things like that, or people on edge and you just all of a sudden gave them a badge. Like, what if you just hired somebody that was like on this fucking like training day trip and he fucking conned your ass all the way till he got that badge. And now they got that badge. And you see these videos of all these intimidating police officers, one after another, just, can I see you fucking identify yourself? Like, first of all, like, what the fuck for? And then they start getting all crazy, and it turns into fucking crazy altercations that are just very unnecessary, if you ask me, humans. I get it. If you're guilty of a crime, and say you have a warrant, you know what I mean? Like, maybe when they say, okay, you're under arrest, you should not run and resist, right? But if somebody isn't resisting, which is very clear in a lot of these fucking cases that are happening, they are not resisting When somebody is punching you in the face or hitting you or hurting you or letting an attack dog, a police officer dog or whatever the fuck, chew on you, you are not going to sit still. I don't know who you are because that shit hurts. That would fucking hurt. The police will be beating you, and how are you supposed to not stay still when there's a fist coming at your body and knees on your breathing apparatuses? You know? Like, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to just sit there like a fucking mannequin and not try to like maybe move your face out the way or clinch, and then you clinch and they think you're fucking resisting because you're getting punched or hit or whatever the fuck, or maybe you're getting slammed into the concrete and you're trying to prepare for getting slammed into the concrete. Maybe that's what's happening and they're not resisting. So maybe they need like more training as far as to evaluate a situation before it gets to fucking some crazy looking UFC type shit or 5-on-1 type shit, like gang shit, but they're police. Like it's the police gang and shit. They're fucking jumping motherfuckers. And don't let them call some fucking backup, you know? When we was kids, the cops used to already show up in like leather gloves and shit. And they would have like some of them that you could see, like if they were waiting for us to do some shit, they had like fucking look like there was fucking beans on them. Shit look like fucking some crazy looking like UFC early gloves and shit, like some illegal shit. So it was bananas, man. This is some crazy things. I think that we need to reevaluate some of these things, you know, because the situations are getting out of control. And maybe not every fucking police officer is this fucking crazy psychos that want to fucking jump motherfuckers and beat everybody up and cause havoc. But unfortunately, that's all our news shows us. And that's all we're going to see is you guys doing all this bad shit. And that's why I believe it's called television programming, humans, because that's what they're doing here. They're sitting here pumping this shit into our faces every day. I'm sure not every fucking person this is happening to, but it's happening. They got tons of footage in this fucking catalog, obviously. And now you got other fucking media outlets. You know, you got the TikToks, Facebook and Instagrams, and people are fucking going bananas catching these cops being shady. Which is great because I believe it should be addressed. This is also obviously a problem. Because if we were doing anything bad on a trend like this, I'm sure they would make an addressment on the news and they would fucking come after this shit, right? You know, just like they do after, you know, anything fucking that, you know, that would benefit us. You know, like trying to get us food and shit. And maybe lower some prices and make living a little easier for us or something. Who knows? But they fucking pump all this negative things in our faces. So that's why I believe we have the negative outlook on these things. Because do you see, there's not many positive stories that come out on your local news. You know, sometimes maybe it's the weather. Or maybe it's the sports time, you know what I'm saying? Or something. You get like a 10-second clip of something other than, you know, bad news and cops doing this and that. I mean, the news won't really necessarily push out the police brutality from the police. But they'll make it seem like they were obtaining somebody and, you know, that's why the guy got shot. You know, and it's bananas that this shit happens all the fucking time. And I believe that this shit needs to change. I think the more we address these things, humans, the more powerful we will get. And our voices will be a little louder. If we can do this in a positive way. You see things where we get out of hand, and what do you expect us to do when we feel threatened? If someone feels threatened just like you, we don't all have a big giant riot shield, and we don't all have fucking like gas masks and fucking, you know, gas to fucking throw at people and shock grenades and shit. Like all we have is like our bodies, our minds and souls, and like it's like all we can do is like yell and scream and shout because, you know, eventually we're going to see what the fuck happens behind that fucking door. You know, and what I'm talking about here is like I said, all they do is push this narrative on us of all this violence on the TV, you know what I mean? But they won't really show us what's really going on. And this is why we always have to see this television programming on a daily basis and all these new shows, like new series and new this and season 4 and season this and season that. And we all got to keep watching these shows and they're fucking coming out with more and more of them like fucking crazy. Like I said, there's so many fucking streaming networks. It's bananas. And we're sitting here and we're supposed to fucking like not pay attention to what's happening. And that's why this stuff is like happening behind our backs. Like all this crazy shit that's going on. So like there was like an interview with Tupac one time. And I think he really described something that's like, it was brilliant in a way. Rest in peace. It was really brilliant when you look at it in a different aspect. Like from his point of view, he was giving us the big picture. So he said like what it would take for us, you know, to be heard or to be fed or to be listened to or to be cared for, you know, he used a very interesting metaphor. And he said, if you were at a fancy building and you saw this building and you were really hungry on the streets and the door swings open and you could see all these meats and sausages and breads getting thrown around back there and milk and all the fine necessities of life, getting thrown around back there like they're playing catch with it, hooking everybody up in there. And we're out in the streets and we want some of that. So we would knock on the door and we'd be like, we are hungry, we need some food, right? I'm sure you all are familiar with that. And it got to the point where we are hungry, we need some food. And then it was like, we want some food, they're starting hitting on the fucking door. And then at the final stage, they went through the door and, got through and found out what's happening. But it was only when we saw what was behind the door. And eventually, I believe we'll see what's behind this door. And maybe we'll wake up and maybe unite in a way that, people has never seen until like crazy, pivotal moments in our history of times, those kind of times, where some things just change, for just to start some new shit after that. But maybe we might see that one day. Maybe the door swings open one time. And it almost seems like the door's kind of swung open with this guy that's in the office right now. Like, if this isn't a big facade, of the person that's in charge, I don't know what is. This is really strange, and you got the other person that knows it's a joke and she's fucking laughing at us all. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's all these things going on. And another thing I'd like to say, humans, is, where are all the celebrities? I know where they're at. They're all fucking being sellouts because you don't see any of these fucking celebrities with people power anymore come and take a stand on things. People with people power. They have celebrities out here on YouTube alone, on this network, on this platform alone, that have more subscribers on all of their platforms combined than some of these streaming networks. And that's amazingly crazy, people power, humans. And those people right there could make a change. They could affect shit around here. But they know better, because anybody with power like that, like even like a Mr. Beast, like over 100 million subscribers across the board. I think he has more subscribers than like the Netflix streaming network, when he has like all of his subscribers combined with all of his fucking platforms. Like, I think he fucking blasts them out, which is bananas. That's like a bananas fucking people power. Imagine if a dude like that, a man like human like that, started, talking to all his hundreds of millions of people. And some of them people could make things change. But they know better, because now when you have a people power like that, you fucking trying to do some shit like that, you get taken out. You get all of a sudden, suicided or whatever the fuck, some shit like that happens. Like, imagine if like Rogan or like I said, or Mr. Beast or like anybody else on those big numbers, like, and big people like that, or like the Paul brothers even. They have a very big following. All these people that have all these huge followings on TikToks and all these platforms. Imagine if they did some things to make everybody do some positive things. They could make some moves and make some serious waves, but they know if they do something like that, everything changes. You don't have all those followers no more. You're probably going to have some kind of crazy thing happen to you in the media, or they're going to fucking take you out. Like, permanently out. And that's why we don't hear nothing from these like celebrity humans. At least that's my theory in that. I don't believe they do. And some of these celebrities I don't even know them all, and some that you may never even heard of, have such a freaking huge following. It's bananas, and they could change things. They could make them listen. Like, they could say, hey, we should be doing this. You got somebody with over 100 million followers, and they're telling people to just be together, and all their followers start liking all of that shit. Well, guess what? That's 100 million people, humans, that all agree on being together. And that's a big chunk. You know what I'm saying? Now, let's say somebody, combined in all the platforms and they beat a network. Okay, so that's fucking like damn near a city's worth of humans. I mean, a city's worth of humans, or, small fucking, city of humans. That's some making moves. And that's what I'm saying. They'll never let that happen again. Somebody gets any kind of people power, they will silence you real quick. They will get you to sell out really fast. They'll get a DNA test. They'll get that DNA sample on your ass, adrenochrome your ass, whatever the fuck. And they will not let that shit go down, humans. And that's why I believe, this shit's brutality in more different ways than one. With the shit that's going on with the police and shit what's going on out here everywhere. And like I said, all these people, all these humans out here that have this fucking huge followings could make a difference. And we understand why. It sucks, but we understand why, because y'all want to live and shit, because it looks like that would be the thing. You make a move like that, that's way more than 81 million. You know what I mean? You make a move like that, that's like tidal wave shit. That's like seismic wave type shit. You would pick up on the seismographs. You know what I mean? Like, and you just don't see that, humans. And it's a shame sometimes. It's a shame when you think about it. But we understand at the same time because this shit's getting brutal. Look what's happening on these court cases and all these things behind the scenes while we're talking about Ben Affleck and J-Lo getting remarried. All this crazy shit going down and people getting sniped out and killed and all this stuff happening, all before the elections are coming up. And, nobody wants to talk about that stuff because they know better, because if they start hyping those things up, they'll be silent. There's just silent people all over the place. That's why you got to watch out sometimes, humans, because shit could get brutal out there with this brutality. And hope y'all enjoyed this episode. And if you did, I'd appreciate it if you would hit that like button, smash that subscription, turn on those notifications. My name is Jaime. This has been another episode of Meant to Vent. Till next time, humans. See ya.